There's something that shocked me last year. Not that people lie, that's actually not new, but how seriously they commit to that lie, even when their behavior completely tells you otherwise, tells you a different story. There is a famous quote that says, if someone shows you who they are, believe them. And honestly, that sounds so simple until you actually experience it yourself.
Nhom Lau, Nhom Lau is all I need, yeah, it's all I need.
Now let's get some context. I'm not a naive person. My life and work requires me to understand human behavior, emotions, communication patterns, and assessment. My background, my studies, my work, even growing up in a war-torn country, all of that teaches you quickly about human nature and where they are. Sometimes more than you should, but still you get to learn from different angles. So this is not necessarily about being unaware, but what still shocked me is this: how people can say one particular thing while deeply committed to staying exactly the same way. I remember my first heartbreak. And no, it's not a boy, it's not a boy. It was friendship. Someone I had considered quite close. I was quite young. Someone who showed me and said they truly admire me and they felt like I'm their hero, which is a bit of a sickly word, but it was a very interesting thing because that's exactly what they use. And the betrayal was shocking when it happened, not because I didn't know betrayal existed, but because I couldn't understand why they did what they did. Because I tried to reflect, right? There are some things here you can have disagreement with, but the way they went about this betrayal was like very strategic, and it was very, very, very interesting. That moment really changed me and where I am and how my understanding of human behavior is. So in that moment, I learned boundaries, I learned composure, I learned to put on my brave, mean face. Like, I joke around with my friends sometimes and I'm like, right at this current moment in my life, I am in my, I don't know if I should say this, I'm in my evil era, because at this point, it's like, and obviously it's not evil, I rebuke that in Jesus' name. It's more that you are finding yourself, putting boundaries, which doesn't get looked upon nicely with a lot of people. Another thing is, I've never really changed in a sense, because that deep inside part of me that truly believes in the goodness of people never actually disappeared. I've just learned to ensure that I am a well-rounded person and that I put certain systems in place to protect me. Now, because of the type of nature that I have, here's what unsettles me. Even now when I think about it and reflecting while I'm doing this, here's what unsettles me. Some people are not just harmful, they believe in their own victimhood. It's crazy, isn't it? They truly believe they're a victim. Even if they could be potentially wrong, there's no room for where they can be potentially villain in somebody's story. Well, and the thing is, and when they're in that state, even while actively causing harm, they still feel that way about themselves. Even while manipulating, even while being clearly in the wrong, they really truly believe that. That kind of self-deception is quite dangerous, and it's a very interesting thing to witness, because when someone sees themselves as the victim, accountability like literally completely disappears or non-existent. They feel like, I'm a good person and da-da-da-da. It's kind of like really, really icky and stuff like that. And empathy, if you're not careful, it becomes a trap, which I feel like that sometimes it's a loop back and forth for me. So here's how to protect your mind and your heart. 1, you need to seek clarity, not silence. I speak with a trusted friend. That's what you need to tell yourself constantly, and that's the narrative you need to tell yourself. Go and speak to someone that you confide in, a grounded person, somebody who is not going to explain it away, and somebody who's going to explain your situation very clearly. Not to vent, but to have a reality check, because it's easy to go and debrief and then move on, but the true thing needs to be dealt with. We are not in the business of quietly bleeding for someone else's dysfunction. Number 2, I call things out early where possible. Now, if you're going to think I'm crazy or you're going to think that I'm too harsh or whatever, That's an on you thing. You need to be able to regulate yourself, because I also need accountability from someone and I need to be able to share it. I do not wait for pain to take root in myself because I put too much pressure on myself already. I don't need another person to put more pressure on me and pain to increase, because nah man, I've suffered too long in my life. I don't need any more pain in my life. I don't allow that confusion to live in my body, because when this happens to you, or when things like this happen in general, the pain or confusion tend to sit somewhere often. Some people it's in their head, some people it's in their belly, some people it's in their chest, some people it's in their hands. Like there's ways that we feel pain, and I feel a lot of stuff on my neck and things like that. So when something is off, when my nervous system is like doing weird stuff, definitely I need to deal with that. We will not bleed slowly. We will not just be chilling here and just we're not going to do that. We need clarity. Clarity is kind of then avoidance, especially to yourself. Number 3, I do not absorb fault, guilt, or shame, or whatever you like to call it. So for yourself, not every emotional display is a sincerity. So people who display all sorts of things because they themselves are confused on where they're going and what they're doing with their lives, do not be trapped in that particular place. Not every story deserves your nervous system, where you're just sitting there and you're hearing this person's story and then they're repeating the same thing in another way. Like, no, just don't accept that fault, guilt, because you're gonna start empathizing, and then you empathize and these people don't care. They really don't care because they're not ready to do the work themselves. Number 4, I protect my inner life. They don't deserve your tears. They just don't deserve your tears. They don't deserve your sleep. They don't deserve your space at all. They don't deserve space in your mind, none of that stuff. Because the truth is, if they've chosen to be this way, it's their own choice. And when you meet those kind of people, it's like very hard, very, very hard. And you don't need to give in to them at all. Number 5, I remember this truth. A free mind is not passive, it's discerning. Don't just sit there. Discern these things, understand these things, so that you don't get caught out and destroy your life over somebody else's nonsense, if I may use that word. The truth of the matter is, of course, we are in a business of giving people grace, mercy. We're in the business of empathy and all of that. Completely understandable, because I also need grace, I also need mercy in my life. However, there are some people, clearly when you discern, they don't need any more chances. They need less access. Protecting your peace is not cruelty at all, it's wisdom. Nhom Lau means free mind, and freedom begins when you stop negotiating with behavior that contradicts words. Let me know if there's anything that resonated with you in this video. Tell me in the comment section. And if you really, really love it, please share it with a friend, a family member, or save it for the next time. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Have a blessed one.